What news, Jonathan? I've heard you've now joined the vampire elite of London.
Did Elizabeth tell you?
So it's Elizabeth now. My. Things are moving quickly. I turn my back for a moment and away you go.
Have you seen Lady Ashbury recently?
Yes, she popped in yesterday. Told me about your new friends in the West End.
Just a courtesy visit, then?
Yes. And no. She was en route to the docks, I think, following a lead concerning your maker.
How's the situation at the Pembroke?
We're still holding out. Question is, for how long? What we really need is hope, Jonathan. Hope for a better tomorrow.
I may have found the source of the contagion. Doris Fletcher, the actress. Thankfully, in the end, she was destroyed by fire.
Really? Oh, please, do tell me more.
Doris was a heavily mutated skull. Almost a new breed entirely. It's as if the disease had completely altered her mind and body. Highly contagious.
As if the disease had taken control of her will?
Yes. Once a beautiful and brilliant woman, she became motivated by hate alone.
Oh, she was a beauty. I met her when she visited the hospital to cheer up the sick. Too bad the fire destroyed her. But it was probably for the best.
Have you heard of similar cases?
No, I don't think so. Except, perhaps, it reminds me of an old report from the Brotherhood. Well, more an article, really.
What was it about?
The author, a friar, referred to a rare form of contagion in a skull he observed during the Black Death. The carrier was always female. They called them Icors.
Have you heard of
No, I don't...
What was it about?
The author, a friar, referred to a rare form of contagion in a skull he observed during the Black Death. The carrier was always female. They called them Icors.
I'll come back later. Thank you, Edgar.
Always a pleasure to see you, my friend.
It's locked.
wasted too much
Time
energy
has
for
lost
so
its effect
little
on me.
result.
But the suffering continues.
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
I'd like to see your goods.
Wise choice, Dr. Reed. A reliable gun is what everybody needs these days. Perhaps I should have considered the offer from that Cadogan fellow.
Jesus, I've never seen so many people dying at the same time. Go!
Everybody else to step back!
Have no fear, brother!
Fall back to the hell that spawned you! God walks with me! Away with that!
Do with the wet booze, I say. You again. What do you want?
Do you need medical help, sir?
Yeah, I do. If you can throw in some drugs, I can find use for that too.
So you can sell them on the black market? Sorry. I'll only provide you with exactly what you need.
Fair enough, Dr. Reed. Don't cost me nothing to ask.
Goodbye, Mr. Digby. Good evening, Miss Cox.
Hello again, Dr. Reed. What do you want?
Can I see what you have to sell?
As long as you have money, I'll show you all I have.
Good evening, Miss Cox.
Hello again, Doctor.
Can I offer you my medical help, Miss Cox?
Giving out for free? You'd make a poor businessman, Dr. Reed.
Perhaps I would. Please, take this. You'll feel better.
Thank you. But don't expect me to owe you anything.
Goodbye, Miss Cox.
Damn it.
Welcome back, Doctor. What can I do for you?
Do you need any help?
It can't be good for business to see the bartender cough in your beer.
Indeed. It would be a shame to taint the delicate taste.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Reed. My customers and I, we all thank you.
Goodbye, Mr. Watts.
I hope I live long enough to see them wet boot boys get what's coming to them. You still working at this hour? That's what I call dedication.
Do you require medical assistance, Miss Cavendish?
Don't feel so good if you have to know. I knew that keeping the bar open with the epidemic wasn't a good idea.
Take this. It'll help. Perhaps you should think about closing the Turquoise Turtle for a while.
Tom always said we got to keep the doors open. But thank you, Doctor.
Goodbye, Miss Cavendish.
one dares go outside.
Are they stupid or something? I've never even been to India.
So few clients. But with the epidemic, no one dares go outside.
Lost boys would be more fitting now.
Good evening, sir. I'm amazed you made it back to the docks alone. Good for you.
Well, I could say the same about you, young man. More to the point, who the hell are you?
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed.
And I am Archer Woodbead. Please excuse my assertiveness. I often forget I'm just an old prune.
Have you always been so bitter?
It's not bitterness, it's poorly masked disgust. When everything turns to shit, we all have to eat a spoon or two.
As a practitioner, I believe science will provide a new standard of welfare. It's just a matter of time.
I'd like to believe you, Doctor. But recently all science has been good for is mustard gas and machine guns.
But what about social progress? What about women getting the right to vote? Things can change for the better.
I've never voted, not once. And my wife, God rest her soul, she was too busy taking care of the kids to vote.
If you are such a respected figure, surely you have many interesting stories about this part of town.
You bet I do, but make no mistake. I'm no rat, sir. Some secrets are best left buried.
Do you still know anyone? From the old days, I mean.
Most of them are dead. I still give Miss Gillingham salutations. She doesn't remember me. She did once like me. Boy, she was a beauty back then.
Who would you trust around here?
The owner of the Turquoise Turtle's a decent fella. Tom's his name. Sean Hampton's all right too. Don't particularly share his religious views. He's quite devout if you catch my meaning.
I'm sure a district as colourful as the docks must have plenty of stories about strange visitors and creepy characters.
So, you want me to talk about the sewer dog, don't you?
If you don't mind.
The sewer dog is a bitch. Appropriately named. An old woman dressed in rags. She has an elegance, though. Despite her ugliness. I saw her once. Scared the life out of me.
Any remarkable new faces around here?
Nobody. Well, there's that boy Rufus the Curse. I like him, despite the reputation he's made since his parents died. Poor little bastard.
What can you tell me about this part of town?
People used to feel safe around here. They had the gangs protecting them. Now all they do is bicker and plot against one another.
Missing the good old days, are you not?
Trust me, son. The longer you live, the less meaning your existence will have. You need to remember the days you still had beliefs.
And what about the gangs?
Back in my day, people trusted the Wet Boot Boys. We looked out for the docks and its families. Nowadays, they're just a bunch of greedy fuckers.
You were a gang member?
I was their leader for a time, believe it or not. Now these bastards act like I'm nothing. Not one of them. They owe me some damn respect.
Tell me about the Wet Boot Boys, Archer. I want to know more.
We were there for the families and each other. It was us against the world. We were vicious, tough, even cruel. But we were united.
You sound like you were some kind of radical union member.
Yes, nowadays the communists and gangs squabble over pointless territory. Sounds stupid when you say it out loud.
Tell me everything you know about the Guard of Priwen.
Andrew never told me what they do. I do know they're vigilantes with military training. Access to some impressive firepower.
And what is your personal opinion about the Guard, then?
This Guard of Priwen is just another gang preying on the young and naive. Preying on people like my boy. I know how it works. I invented it.
Why did your son really join the Guard of Priwen?
If I believed in a higher power, I'd see this as punishment for my own sins. I deserve it for all the young men I enlisted back in the day.
You don't believe in God, though, do you, Mr. Woodbead? So why did he join?
Now I think about it, Andrew joined the Guard, not to defy me, but to follow in my footsteps, to make me proud.
So your son has left you nothing to explain his actions? No letter or message?
Not even a note. I'm a proud man, Dr. Reed. But I would kneel and pray if I thought it would give me my Andrew back.
Do you have any recent news on Sean Hampton's shelter?
The man is still here. He's trying to help others despite the terrible things he endured. I'm impressed.
Are you worried about the sanitary situation in London?
I never thought I'd live to see the last days of London. Just another thing I was wrong about, I suppose.
Do you need my medical attention, sir?
Unfortunately, yes. The spirit is willing, but the flesh, well, you know.
Nobody is immune to disease. There's no need to be ashamed of that.
Well, thank you, Doctor. Now maybe I'll live another day or two.
Goodbye, sir.
What have you done? You should have talked to me.
The Wet Boot Boys. Lost Boys will be more fitting now.
I have this thirst for blood. Good evening, sir. I'm glad to see you safe.
I am not safe. I should never have come back here. My life is in danger. I know it.
You're much safer here than in that contaminated area.
Bullets kill people quicker than diseases and epidemics, Dr. Reed.
What can you tell me about this district?
The East End Docks only knows one rule. Dog eat dog, and blood calls for blood. The gang will have their revenge on me one way or another.
What can you tell me about the locals?
Most people would say that Sean Hampton and Tom Watts are good men who try to sort things out. But for me, the real boss around there was my best friend, Jack Gillingham.
Jack Gillingham, you say?
Everyone round there knew Jack. He was a rock. A mountain, even. He feared nothing.
Your friend Jack has something to do with you fleeing to the contaminated area where I found you. I want to know more.
Jack is dead. That's all you need to know. Dead because of me. So much violence. So much sorrow. All of that because I refuse to be insulted again.
No man can predict the exact outcome of his actions. It's the curse we have to live with. We can only gamble and do what we think is best.
Perhaps you're right. The district was doomed before I was born. But I cannot stop myself thinking that Jack died for me.
Why do you say that?
After I killed that gang member, the Wet Boot Boy suspected Jack. And being loyal and all, he did not refute the accusation.
The death of your friend has affected you deeply, hasn't it?
Jack Gillingham was the real deal. He believed we could change the world if we were united and focused enough. And he brought out the best in each of us.
You're right. He died to save you. That alone gives me an idea of the kind of man he was.
He was the bravest. And no one dares to say openly that he got killed by those bastards.
Your friend's plan was audacious, if not reckless. No one stands up by themselves to a gang like the Wet Boot Boys.
How dare you say that? You never met him.
You are not going to spend the rest of your life hiding, Rodney. What are you planning to do?
Honestly, I have no idea. How am I supposed to live while so many have suffered because of me?
Only you can answer that question. But one thing is certain. Since you owe Jack your life, I think it's fair to live it in a way that would make him proud.
That's the kind of thing Jack could have said, Dr. Reed. Thank you for that. I believe you're a good guy too.
Do you have recent news of Sean Hampton's shelter?
I heard he kept on helping people, but I tried to stay away from his shelter. I don't feel safe there.
Do you need help, Mr. Grader?
Death by disease or by bullet? Do I really have to choose?
Well, I have nothing to stop the bullets, but this should make you feel better.
You have a strange sense of humor, Dr. Reed. But thanks anyway.
Are you worried about the sanitary situation in London?
Not really. I've spent so many days hiding to escape retaliation from the Wet Boot Boys. Now that there's so much chaos, they might forget about me.
Goodbye, Mr. Grader. Take care. Good evening, Miss Gillingham. May I come in?
Of course, of course.
So, Dr. Tippets, what brings you back here? We haven't talked in quite some time.
Do you require medical attention, miss?
I'm glad you asked, Dr. Tippets. I must confess I haven't felt that well of late.
I'll try my best. Here, take this. And please, try to get some rest.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you very much.
I found this watch. It was a gift from you to your boy, wasn't it? I think it should return to you now.
Oh, I remember. Yes, I recall the day I offered Jack this watch. Oh, it was such a beautiful day. Thank you, sir.
Trinkets and possessions help us remember our past. Promise me you'll not lose it.
I would never lose anything that belonged to Jack. Why don't you take this? Dr. Tippets? Please, for your charity.
Enid, have you really no idea what happened to your son? No idea at all?
I've not seen Jack for so long. I lose track of time. Has something bad happened to him?
Jack takes good care of you, Miss Gillingham.
He does indeed. My Jack is the best son a mother could ask for.
Goodbye, Miss Gillingham. It's locked, all right. Good evening, young man.
There's no need to call me that, Dr. Reed.
Young man, do you require medical attention?
I don't like asking for help, but I don't want to be one of those poor sods dying in the streets.
There's no shame in asking for help, especially when you are in desperate need of it. Here, take this. You should recover in no time.
Thank you, I suppose.
Show me what you have to offer then, Mr. Nightingale. It's locked.
I know I
Yes,
promised
Doctor?
you I'd make everything right, Mum.
Farewell, Sean.
Glad to see you again, Mr. Reed.
Do you need my medical attention, Miss Paxton?
I can keep going, Dr. Reed.
Of course you can, Miss Paxton. But I wouldn't recommend it. Please, take this. You will feel better.
Thank you, Dr. Reed. Thank you. Really.
Goodbye, Miss Paxton.
Perhaps Sean knows something about him.
You again? What do you want?
Do you need medical help, Miss Paxton?
No, thank you.
Well, I'll leave you for now. Goodbye, Miss Paxton.
Still much work to do.
It's locked, all right. I cannot enter. It's locked.
Have you found the answers you were looking for, young Ekon?
There is too much left unanswered. So many questions.
Get to know us.
Thank you, old Bridget.
No more questions, Dr. Reed.
It's locked.
I can't protect the whole city. It's hard enough to cover the docks by myself.
Good evening, Mr. Throgmorton.
Dr. Reed, can I be of any assistance? Have you noticed anything suspicious lately?
Do you need my medical attention, sir?
Actually, I may. In my line of work, I have to stop at any sign of infection.
Treating a vampire hunter's wounds is certainly a first for me. I'm happy to help you, of course.
Thank you, Dr. Reed. Your support means a lot.
Goodbye, and good hunting, Mr. Throgmorton. Good evening, Mrs. Fishburne. May I come in, please?
Of course. Dr. Reed. Just grow eyes in the back of that head, sir. Gentlemen are easy targets in these parts. What can I do for you, Dr. Reed?
Mrs. Fishburne, are you in need of any medical assistance?
I am afraid I am, Doctor. I don't feel well at all.
Then let me give you a prescription.
I thank you for your generosity, sir. It's something this part of town truly needs.
Goodbye, Miss Fishburne. Take care of yourself.
It's locked, all right.
Please don't stay too long, sir.
I cannot enter.
Straight, these parts will be running completely amok.
The moron had me laughing at first. That's a thing.
It's locked.
I'd head back if I were you, sir. I said stay away, sir. I'll kill him! Over there! There's one of them vermin! I'll send you to hell. You're mine, vermin! Want some of this? Bloody monster!
I cannot enter.
London has brought so much pain.
Good evening, Miss Ashbury.
And good evening to you, Dr. Reed.
Do you need my medical attention, Charlotte?
I am fine, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Charlotte.
She's been quite busy these last few nights.
Good evening, Miss Teasdale. How have you been since you returned home?
Dr. Reed. Oh, thank God you returned safely from these awful streets. I was so worried about my father that I left without thanking you properly.
Please don't mention it, miss.
Good. I found him, you know. My dad. Or what was left of him. I think my abductor intended to do the same thing to me.
Louise, what can you tell me about the vampire who captured you?
The little fucker claimed he'd fallen in love with me. That he wanted to spend eternity with me. Not a bad idea. At least that's the way it seemed at first.
Really? Did you consider accepting his proposal?
Well, immortality. Not a common wedding gift, is it? I think he just wanted to have his way with me. Can vampires even fuck, Doctor?
What? Well, I really can't answer that. Well, since they are creatures of blood, physically speaking, I suppose an erection is possible, but
Don't be embarrassed, Dr. Reed. I was just asking.
Why did your father feel guilty? He seemed so eager to welcome you back, as though he'd done something wrong.
Last time we saw each other, we had a terrible argument. I left the house and ended up in a pub. That's where the vampire met me. Dead drunk.
I see.
We argued a lot, me and Dad. But I always came home. I'm sure that's why he went to find me. He knew something bad had happened.
Your father never gave up on you. In the end, he risked everything to save the daughter he loved.
Yeah, that was my dad. Tough bastard, just like me. Even if I'd broken his leg, he would have gone looking for me.
What do you mean?
That last argument we had, it was more of a fight, actually. He slapped me and I kicked him hard in the balls.
Louise, tell me what you really think about your father's sacrifice to save you.
I'm proud he went after me. I forgive him all his harsh words, all his bloody attitudes. I only wish I could tell him how much I loved him.
Yes. It can be traumatic, not having the chance to say goodbye to those we love.
Yes, Doctor. And there's no treatment for that type of pain, isn't that right? That may be the last thing my father taught me.
You seem to cherish your father a great deal.
Dad was the best. Kept an eye on me, but let me make my own mistakes. Louise used to say, mistakes are the best teacher. You would have liked him.
I'm sorry you didn't have the opportunity to say goodbye.
That's all right. He's buried in consecrated ground now. Nothing bad can happen to him.
Do you need my medical attention, miss?
I don't need your help specifically. I can assure you there are many competent doctors around.
I have no doubt about it, but I'm offering you my help anyway.
All right then, but please leave me alone for now.
What do you do for a living, Miss Teasdale?
Before my kidnapping, I was a waitress in a pub. Now I'm unemployed.
Were you fired?
No, it's just that after my recent experience, I don't feel like I can go back to my normal life. I need to do something useful.
Be very careful, Miss Teasdale. You were lucky to escape death once, but vampires lurk everywhere.
You killed my kidnapper by yourself, didn't you? No offense, Doctor, but you're just a doctor. I don't see why I couldn't do the same.
What do you intend to do?
Dad always told me, Louise, if you want something, don't stop until you have it. I did my research and I found it. Ichabod Throgmorton, professional vampire hunter. I'll be his apprentice.
What can you tell me about this area?
I've never really liked this part of town. It was where my father wanted to live. I won't remain here much longer.
What exactly don't you like about it?
People here are contemptuous and elitist. My dad always said, Louise, always treat people like you want them to treat you.
Goodbye, Miss Teasdale, and be careful. Until we meet again.
Welcome back, Dr. Reed.
Elizabeth, What are you doing here?
I've been formally asked to witness your triumph, my dear. After all, isn't it the natural role of a woman to support her man in victory?
But it's you who insisted I join the Ascalon.
Please forgive my giddiness. I'm just overcome by the thrill of finally being allowed within these hallowed halls.
You certainly have an inquisitive mind. It's quite something. Elizabeth Ashbury, only you can make me smile in these difficult times.
And the same to you, Jonathan Reed. Now go have your little chat with the chairman. I can see he's practically bursting to hear your report.
Lord Redgrave can play with the brave all he wants, but I won't put a foot outside until the Pre-Wen end their hunt.
We'll talk later, Jonathan.
We repel the intruders for now. But how long before they return? I personally went patrolling last night in the West End, and I spotted at least 2 foreign Ekons.
This is an outrage. We shall chase these intruders down.
Welcome back to the Ascalon Club, Lance-Bearer. Please, tell us the good news. Have you put an end to the epidemic?
My hypothesis was correct. Doris Fletcher was the source of the contagion in this part of town. She was probably the first to be infected.
And you cleansed her before the hunters, I've been told. Well done, Dr. Reed. You thrust your lance and pierced the very heart of the corruption.
But some questions remain.
The important thing is, we won a major battle for the survival of London. For that, we salute you.
Thank you, my lord.
Now, I have another task for you. One of the utmost importance. Perhaps even more so than the previous.
I'm listening.
It's time for you to perform a most sacred duty for the club. I want you to recruit a new vampire.
Recruit a new vampire? Are you sending me on some sort of diplomatic mission?
Not exactly. I want you to make Aloysius Dawson the Ekon he deserves to be.
I'm sorry, but I can't.
Are you questioning my orders?
No. It's just... I'm not sure I'm ready to have another progeny after what happened with my sister.
The rebirth of Aloysius Dawson is a necessary step in our campaign to ensure the safety of London.
How would you like me to proceed?
Aloysius is waiting for you at the Dawson estate. Once the deed is done, I'll join you there to celebrate this momentous occasion.
Before I go, I have a few questions.
All right, I'm listening.
You invited Lady Ashbury. Wouldn't that be breaking one of your cardinal rules? No women allowed.
Not allowed as members, no. But considering the circumstances, I thought you'd like to have her here to witness your triumph.
So it's a temporary admittance, then?
Something of a bargain, considering the crisis we're currently facing.
How would you like me to proceed?
Don't worry. Aloysius has had many years to prepare himself. He has studied our kind for decades.
So shall I just let him drink my blood?
Yes. Aloysius will gratefully sup on your blood. His heart will slow, then stop. But he will rise again as one of us, an immortal.
Is there any danger?
Our blood alters a mortal body so deeply that some don't survive the metamorphosis. They die for good. But Mr. Dawson has been preparing himself for a long time.
Why Aloysius Dawson?
Because he is about to die. And he just may be the most influential man in England. After me, of course.
Did he choose me?
No, I did. My decision is very recent, to say the least, but it is entirely mine.
Does he know I'm coming?
He can't wait to become your progeny, Dr. Reed. Especially now that you have shown how strong your lineage is through your sister.
Goodbye, Lord Redgrave.
Understandably, you have questions. Very well, proceed.
Goodbye, Lord Redgrave.
Have you heard the rumors of some horned vampire revealing himself and singing obscure songs around the city? What is this new malevolence?
I know we're facing a crisis, but I'm shocked no one took the time to clean up the mess inside the club since we were attacked.
Are you all right, Jonathan?
Lord Redgrave has just ordered me to turn Aloysius Dawson, to make him my progeny.
I see. And how do you feel about this?
I'd like your advice on the matter.
The real question here is, why has his lordship given you this task?
Do you think it's some sort of trap?
Do you really want to know what I think about this?
I do, yes.
To make an immortal of a soulless blackguard like Aloysius Dawson will only lead to a disaster for London. The man is already dead inside.
Should I refuse? Perhaps politely suggest that Lord Redgrave turn the man into a vampire himself.
Don't you dare, my dear. According to what I've recently discovered, his lordship could kill you for even broaching the subject.
Really? Why?
I've recently found proof that the Earl of Bristol is of lesser lineage and only capable of creating skulls.
Please tell me more about your recent investigation.
As long as you lower your voice.
Are you sure your information about Redgrave is correct? He says he's the progeny of the great knight William Marshall, who lived some 9 centuries ago.
That's a lie. Lord Redgrave is unable to create anything but skulls, if the poor souls survive at all.
How can you be sure the information was correct?
I made the acquaintance of a most interesting informer while investigating your maker, from whom I learned the truth about Lord Redgrave.
Why so vindictive? You suddenly sound like you're angry.
Forgive me, Jonathan. I hate myself for it, but I feel such pride in my discovery. I'm afraid I just can't help it.
Which is?
He did serve William Marshall. And yes, the blood he covets as a token does truly belong to that legendary knight. But he was never his progeny. His lineage is not so noble.
What would you have me do about Dawson?
The man is dangerous. Did you know he plans to build a wall to separate the healthy rich from the sickly poor? Do not make him your progeny.
What would you do?
The man's dying already. Let the reaper harvest the rotten fruit that is his soul.
What would happen if I made Dawson an Ekon like myself?
You would add a powerful immortal into a suffering world. An immortal who already craves authority.
Maybe I could teach him control, like you taught me. Lead him down the right path.
Mr. Dawson spent his life searching for a way to cheat death. I'm sure he has spent decades dreaming of how he'd spend eternity as a tyrant.
Goodbye for now, Elizabeth.
Goodbye, my dear. Please, be careful.